Hello and welcome to the BookTube channel, Jack and the Book Stack, where I talk about a wide variety of book genres and the bookish lifestyle. Today I have my November TBR for you. These are the books that are on my radar, my hopefuls to read in the month of November. And first and foremost, I never put a lot of pressure on myself. I read for enjoyment, as an escape. So I have never really held myself to a really strict standard of a number of books to read. However, I was recently looking at GoodReads and I always put my goal at 100 books because I think that's such a phenomenal number and I don't really care if I reach it or not. But then I realized that I am not only way past 100, but it's also very feasible for me to read 200 books in 2024. That blows my mind. That's insane. I had no idea that was possible, that it would be possible for me. It's just crazy. So now I have increased my goal and now I actually want to hit a certain number of books. I will be disappointed if I reach 196. So close, right? So there's a little bit of pressure now. And it's possible, it's doable. Here are the options to start me off in November. I still need probably to read more in November, but here's the ones that I'm gonna try to read and then I'll probably just mood read from there. First and foremost, I have got to finish Rhythm of War. I am just beyond 50% of the way done with it. I was reading it physically and with audio, and it was just taking me a little bit. When I was reading the first half, I wasn't really in a epic fantasy mood and I was just too hyped up for spooky season, so I decided to put this down and pick it back up in November. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a dedicated reading vlog for this. I actually already have 50% of it filmed and edited, so I mean there's really no excuse. I need to finish this out. Luckily I am enjoying it. It's not blowing my mind as I expected the Stormlight Archives to do, especially because I adore Brandon Sanderson, but still enjoying myself with this read, so I am going to finish this in November. Mr. Brandon Sanderson has also recommended that you read The Sunlit Man before you read Stormlight 5, which comes out in December. So I'm gonna listen to his reading order advice and I'm gonna pick up this special project. I have the really pretty special edition, the leather bound with the sprayed edges. So this is just the recommended. I believe this is in the Cosmere, and I watched a short or a TikTok type video of Sanderson saying that you should finish book 4 and then you should read this one before going into book 5. So that's what I'm gonna do. The next book, I have to admit, I have never seen on BookTube, Bookstagram, BookTok. This is completely outside of my comfort zone, but there's a very good reason why this is on my TBR. The book is Without Remorse by Tom Clancy. So this is my aunt's favorite book and her birthday is in November. So I am reading this in honor of her, and I'm also reading this as per her request. You see, she has recently started reading again for fun, and my cousin and I have been giving her all of our favorite books, all of the popular books. So she just read the ACOTAR series and I think she really liked it, and we're having her just read all sorts of things, all sorts of fairy smut, and we had to read a Stephen King. We had to read fairy tale though, so it's not a horror, but she has been such a good sport reading every single book that we ask her to try. And I mean, we're recommending ones we think she will enjoy, and so she's been such a good sport. So she said she wanted us to read her favorite all-time book, and how could we say no? So in honor of her birthday, I am going to be reading her favorite book. In the similar spirit, I have another in real life friend. His name is Andy, and he has a favorite book that he has been requesting that I check out. And since he has read so many of my recommendations, I have to read Swan Song. This is by Robert McCammon. It is a horror, but I think it's a Southern Gothic horror. I feel like it's very character driven. So I'm not thinking it's slow paced, but maybe a little bit. But if Andy recommends this, he is a horror expert. And so I'm really excited to check this one out. I've seen it around too, and it's frequently mentioned as a favorite book. And this author is really praised. So I am really looking forward to checking this one out. It's a little bit thick. I'm a little bit intimidated, but I am expecting quite the journey. One of my 2024 goals was to read 6 classics that I had picked out. And honestly, I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit with that goal, but that's okay. I just had like some work stuff pick up and really divert my attention. I wasn't as interested in reading like heavy classics and annotating and put that much thought into my reading, but I'm kind of coming out of that phase now. I'm interested in dipping my toe back into the waters when it comes to classics. So looking at my goals and what's remaining on the list, I thought about picking up Northanger Abbey, pretty much because this was one of the 6 books that was the shortest. So maybe I will get to this one, maybe I will annotate it, maybe I will do a dedicated annotation vlog for it. I really don't know. I'm gonna go where the wind takes me on this one, but it is a possibility for November. Another goal that I've had this year that I've actually been doing really, really well with was reading 1 nonfiction book a month. And a lot of times I'm reading more than one, so I think I'm ahead of my goal, but I'm not slowing down yet. I have another nonfiction book picked out for November because I'm honestly still a little bit in the spooky season kind of mood. So I picked up Stiff. This is The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers. I read another book recently that was about dead bodies, or not recently, but I read it last nonfiction November, and it was morbidly interesting. And so when I saw this book along kind of, it seems like the similar lines, I thought it would be great to add to my TBR, and I'm definitely in the mood for this. I really like reading nonfiction for nonfiction November, so this is the one that I picked out. With my updated goal of reading 200 books this year, I was looking at the top of my dresser where I keep my TBR short list, the books that I want to read. That's now kind of like overflowing because I keep hauling so many books. And I was curious, out of all those books on that shelf, which one had been on my TBR the longest? And I was like, you know what, November, I'm going to read that book. I'm not going to take the oldest book into the new year. So I picked that book up. I added it to my GoodReads TBR August 19th of 2019. It's been on the list for a long time. So it's time to finally pick up Rules of Civility by Amor Towles. I don't know what this one is about, really. I think it is a modern classic. It's so funny how I add these books to my TBR, I haul them, but I like don't know what they're about. But I think I've just forgotten since 2019. There's so many books. So this takes place, in 1937. Follow 25-year-old Katie Contet. Oh, jazz bar. Okay, some buzzwords there. I'll read it and I'll report back. I think this one I'm going to go into it blind. The last book I read by this author, A Gentleman in Moscow, I had some really high expectations for based on the plot summary, and the book did not live up to my expectations. So I actually don't want to know too much about this going into it. I want to give this author a fair shot, and it will be so satisfying when I can finally mark this one as read. Here at Jack in the Book Stack, you know that I love a good theme when it comes to my reading or just my life in general. It's just one of my simple pleasures. I mean, in October we had spooky season and specifically cannibals. In September we had like back to school, dark academia vibes. I really like theming my reads. Maybe not for the whole month, but it does bring me satisfaction to have like little piles or little chunks of books that have a similar theme. So the rest of the books on my list to read in November fit the theme of coziness. After reading so much horror in October, I need light in my life again. So I have a pile of books that I've been saving specifically for this month because I knew I would need some levity. So first and foremost, one that I've often heard recommended as being very cozy fantasy is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. I have the beautiful blue sprayed edges. I think the sequel just came out. I haven't purchased it yet. I'm monitoring the price of it. Since it's a newer release, I think it's still a little bit higher. I might have even put it on my Christmas list for my family. But I should probably read the first one to make sure I love it. But I think I really will. This gives me, like the summary of this one gives me similar vibes to Legends and Lattes. They want to open a bookshop that serves tea, where firelight drifts between the rafters. But Reina works as one of the queen's private guards, and Chiante is the most powerful mage in existence. Leaving their lives isn't too easy. See, like, if you're familiar with Legends and Lattes, it sounds very, very similar, just with tea. Next up on the list for cozy reads is The Phoenix Keeper. I'm pretty sure this is about a zoo with magical creatures, and that sounds so endearing and fun. Can go a lot of different ways though. I'm hoping all the creatures live. Like, I'm never a fan of when the dog dies in books, so all the creatures have to live. If I'm gonna be made to fall in love with these beasts, then they gotta stick around. Page 1 to the last page. But I have heard that it's kind of cozy and that the creatures are adorable. I haven't heard anybody say their heart got ripped out, so looking forward to this one and learning all about the creatures. The final read on this November TBR list is the most ambitious because it is an entire series. And I like to read series close together. I like to read them in the same month if I can, so that I get the full impact of the series. I don't lose all the small details. Everything ties together in my head. But this has 4 books in the series, so it is quite ambitious, but I do have all 4 audiobooks available to me. And that was challenging because this seems to be a popular series, and so I had to like stagger my requests or my holds, and then one would come due super early and I had to like delay it, and it was a whole like choreographed dance with Libby. But I think I'm gonna make it. But if not, I have the physical books. So I really want to read the Green Creek series by TJ Klune because I freaking love TJ Klune. Like, he's in the running of being one of my favorite all-time authors. I just really adore his books. I love the sarcasm. I love how cozy they are. The characters are so endearing and make me feel so good. So I'm hoping that this series gives me the same feelings. So this was a series that was published and it was just recently republished. And so the 4th book was recently released in the past couple months and the price has not come down on it yet. So I will pick it up to have a complete matching series. I just need that price to come down a bit. But we're gonna start with Wolf Song as book 1, and then Raven Song, which is book 2, I believe. Yep, book 2. See, he puts the numbers on the spines. Brilliant idea, right? Like, I don't know why everybody doesn't do that. And then Heart Song, and then what's the last one called? Oh, last one is Brother Song. It's on the back there. Last one is Brother Song. So I have the physical books, I have the audiobooks, so I can mix up formats, which is really the best way to do it because I love immersively reading. It helps keep me focused while my eyeballs are on the page, and then it also helps if I need to like multitask with other things. So I really adore immersive reading, and so I'm optimistic I can finish it, but we'll see, because that is a huge stack of books, especially because my number 1 priority is finishing a 1,200 page epic fantasy. But I think this will be cozy, so I'm excited. Got some that fit the theme. So that will bring me pretty close to my 200 goal. I think I will still have to mood read and pick up some other books, but we will just see. I'm not even gonna bother putting anything on my TBR right now. Anything that I physically own is up for grabs for November, or anything that's available through Libby. I'm gonna try really hard not to book shop right now unless I see a deal. I mean, that can't be helped, right? But with Christmas coming up, my family's asking me what I want, and I gave them like a wish list of all the books, so those ones will have to wait. We'll see. We'll see. Part of the fun is just not knowing. So that is my November TBR. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Be sure you're subscribed so you can check out my reading videos throughout the month, and then my monthly reading wrap up where I rank all the books in order of enjoyment from my least favorite to my most favorite. Check out that video at the end of November to see what I thought of these books. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you in the next video.